guys, Super Adventure back at again with another video. And before we start with this, remember to like the video if you end up liking it and subscribe if you want more content just like this. Today we're going to be talking about the top 5 accessories that I recommend every beginner buying before they buy anything else. You may be tempted, you go out to the field and you see a ton of people with like 1,000,001 different accessories, doodads, doohickeys and stuff like that. Before you spend a ton of money on all sorts of random crap, get these 5 essentials down. My first one, and I believe the most important one, is getting a proper pair of goggles and face masks. Something to protect the face and something to extremely protect your eyes. Let's start with goggles. The first thing that I recommend when buying these is looking at the ANSI rating. For me, if it doesn't have the ANSI Z87-1 or above rating on it, it's utter garbage and I don't even look at it. I have these Rothko OTG ANSI-rated goggles and these are protective as heck. I've had these for a long time, had them shot out multiple times. Not a single scratch or break can be seen on them. I have links to all the stuff that I'm going to mention today in the description below if you want to buy any of them. And now again, if you're looking for that specific rating, some people charge like 20 bucks. You're getting the same rating as an item that's going to be charged like a couple $100. You're getting the same protection. It might not be the same quality on the housing and stuff like that, but the protective lens itself has the same protective aptitude per se. Next, for mask, really doesn't matter. You can run around with no mask by all means, but I highly recommend getting at least a mesh mask. I've seen many videos of people actually getting their cheeks shot and BBs being lodged in their cheek, or sometimes actually going through their cheek. Guys, we don't know how much we can trust those chronos. We don't know if people are actually changing their springs out or their HPA tank regs. You never know. So protect yourself and get all the protective gear that you need. For me, I have these mesh goggles that I've had for like a million years at this point. They're great. I've had a couple of shots in the face and the bullets will just kind of split through the mesh. Again, that's why you don't want a mesh pair of goggles. Those people who actually buy mesh goggles, what are you doing? So I have the goggles and the mesh part just kind of attached together. Your zip ties makes things a lot easier. Now you could go out and buy a very expensive dye mask or something like that. Those look really cool and those are also protected and have a good rating on them. So if you want to go out and buy a dye mask or the little combo thing that I have going on here, the one takeaway is protect your eyes with that guarantee ANSI rating. The next thing on the list is a proper chest rig. I highly recommend getting a proper chest rig so you can carry your mags, your grenades, even have your gun slung down. That way you don't have to be carrying that stupid thing all over the place before your game even starts. It lightens the load, makes things a lot easier, and you can just be hands-free when you're going back to spawn or going to load into the game or just walking around. I only spent about $50 on mine, which is fantastic. I upgraded the crap out of it throughout the years with different mag pouches, adding plates into it and stuff like that. And the main reason I was able to do that is because I bought a good base. As long as you have a good base for your chest plate or your chest rig, it should be easy to upgrade and change and customize and stuff like that. If you're buying a chest rig, at the very least, I would try and find a chest rig that has different QD sling points, different straps, or different Velcro patches. That way you can attach things and remove things pretty quickly, or if you have to zip tie things onto it, it's a lot easier. Also, having removable molly pouches and stuff like that makes it a lot easier for you to upgrade in the future. The other thing that I would look for is having that additional slot in the inside of the chest rig. That way you can attach like a fake plate into it. They make these Airsoft fake plates. That's what I have in mind. It adds an additional amount of rigidity to it. That way everything just kind of stays where it has to stay. Kind of makes everything feel a lot higher quality. I've had my chest rig for about 4 years now. So if I can find my chest rig, I will put in the description. Next up on the list are proper mid cap. Get quality mid caps. I swear to God, it's just so much better just having quality mid caps. The polymer they're made out of, the spring guide that they have inside, these additional features where there's a little nub that comes up to lodge into your hop up. That way you can protect the nozzle. Stuff like that. It's quality stuff that just makes things a lot easier. Don't cheap out on them. The cheaper ones can break. The higher quality mid caps will have a lot better feeding. It will have a lot better drop resistance. It'll have sometimes these cool features where you can remove the bottom plate and attach customized bottom plates. It'll have better aesthetics, which I know not everyone cares about, but the other things that I talked about are very important when it comes to mid caps. Also, if you're pretty new, you probably only ever use high caps where you have to sidewind the magazine after dumping like 300 BBs into it. Now you're probably pretty used to hearing the maraca sound everywhere you run because the BBs are just all filled into it and it's not really loaded into a spring guide or anything. Mid caps are very different. Quantity that you can actually load into a mid cap is significantly lower. It's about 50% lower depending on the magazine. You load it in one by one into the top, but you won't ever hear that rattling noise. You don't ever have to stand up against a wall and just start sidewinding just to get more ammo. And overall, it just improves your playstyle a lot. Now, I have these KWA MS-120s, I believe. These are fantastic mags. Now that you guys know I have an HPA system, I actually put the FCU up to like 55 and it was able to feed it perfectly well. Now, your mileage may vary with the hop up. Depending on the hop up chamber, you could have more or less feeding issues, but the mag itself will have no issues running most RPSs. I also have this Matrix Modify mag. This is also very high quality. I would highly suggest spending the extra money on sturdier mid cap. You know, in the middle of the game, you're probably going to reload, drop the mag, and you want to have the highest chance of being able to use that mag a second time. Since we're on the topic of magazines, let's talk about speed loaders. That's my number 4. Getting a proper speed loader is a lifesaver. At least I believe it to be. Now, especially if you're running mid caps, having a proper speed loader will be the difference between you being able to make that next game. So there are 2 options with speed loaders. You can have these single pump speed loaders and you can have these sidewinder speed loaders. I use these single pump speed loaders for the longest time. The problem with these is it reloads pretty slow. The BB storage capacity is quite limited and they kind of break apart pretty quickly if you force too much. And that's where these sidewinders come into play. You kind of just spin the wheel around a little bit and your mag's filled up within less than a minute. Now you don't have to go to Evike and spend 40 bucks on the Odin one or go anywhere and buy the Odin specific one. I have this speed loader that I got off of Amazon for 20 bucks. It has been a lifesaver because I've been able to go game after game after game after game without having to just sit there and refill this tiny speed loader multiple times trying to fill up by just 3 mid caps. If you do the math, and if each speed loader can only carry 90 BBs, each mag, if you're running 3 mags, has 150 BBs each. That's 3 mags at 150 BBs each, resulting in about 450 BBs that you need to fill up with your 90 BB capacity speed loader. It's gonna take you doing this, dumping more BBs, doing this again 5 times in order to fill up just 3 mags at 150 capacity each. The Sidewinder holds 2,000 BBs in it at once. Plug it in, stir it around, take it out, plug it in, stir it around, take it out. Do that 3 times, you're done. Because in the long run, 20 bucks, I know it can be a lot for some people, but it's just so much more convenient. Lastly, and definitely not the least important, is getting quality sight. I plan on making a whole video comparing the different sights, red dots, scopes, ACOGs, stuff like that. Now, getting a proper sight can elevate your game so much. It takes a while to get your BBs sighted in perfectly into your red dot, but once that's there, and if your hop-up's perfect and not changed throughout the days, you're gonna have such a good time hitting those crispy one-shots. Doesn't matter if you're playing CQB or if you're playing long range with a sniper, you're gonna have a fantastic time if you have something that'll at least show you relatively in the ballpark where I'm supposed to aim. Also, in darker environments, it's a lot easier to see when you have a bright little laser dot coming through onto the sight picture rather than just your iron sights. I have a few red dots here just to display for you guys, but again, I'll be making another video that will show you the difference between all of the different red dots and which one you should choose. But for the time being, understand that having a proper red dot will help you a lot in games and give you a lot better of an experience. But yeah, that's it for the top 5 accessories that I recommend. If you have any questions, please comment down below. And if there are other things that you veterans out there would recommend beginners getting and you'd like to add on top of it or tweak my opinions, comment down below. Supporting the newbies is a community-wide effort. We're always trying to help everyone. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and I'll see you in the next one.